Afternoon. It's great to have so many people joining us from all over the world. So I won't say good morning, good afternoon, good evening like I normally do because it could be anywhere. Apart from I know it's very warm here and I hope you have lovely weather where you are. So welcome everybody to this month's Virtual Education Conference. Is entitled Developing Global Dimensions in a School Ethos. Okay, and we have some amazing speakers for you who I'll introduce in a second. We hopefully will be finishing by 5:30. We do have an apologies at the moment from Sarah Lawrence and Ollie, who has a storm where she is. So it could be that she might be a little later joining us. She's actually coming from South Africa. So we have some amazing speakers already here anyway. So Hazra, welcome. Hazra is joining us from Dubai and is head of the primary of the Indian Academy. We have Harvey Schofield, who is the director at Guide Education, to introduce himself. Hopefully Selri or Kelly will be joining us as long as the weather permits from South Africa. And we have Sarah Ferris, who's joining us from Highworth Grammar School today in the UK. So welcome all our speakers. We're really looking forward to an exciting afternoon, evening, morning, which I should stop saying. So those of you who are new to Global School Alliance, we welcome you to our conference and why aren't you members, basically. So it's a fantastic online community. I can't stress enough how amazing our members are. And it's a great place to connect pioneers in education reform. We are looking at global education. We're looking at a best way to connect, to facilitate these connections and networking and to share best practice with our overall aim, obviously, to improve student education around the world, preparing them as global citizens to participate in our new global society, as we are so interconnected now. And it's great that I can sit here and speak to people all over the world. So become a member, and there are many, many benefits. It's free to join, and there are many benefits of joining, such as these monthly conferences. We have amazing student councils. We have a lovely Global School Award program to celebrate global education. And many more events and competitions to take part of. So please do join, register and get on the platform and be kept up to date with all the exciting opportunities. One of our current campaigns at the moment is to encourage student engagement, is to get peers mixing around the world, because I think that's what has the most impact and lasting memories for them. And there's nothing better than experiential learning. We can talk to them till they're blue in the face, but they need to meet peers and see and experience for themselves. So our current campaign is to encourage engagement. We have a few different programs in place for you to connect with, depending on what you want from your school, budgets, and again, but also basically what would fit your school needs at the moment. So we have our flagship program, which is the Sister School Partnerships, which is a long-term relationship between two schools with meaningful sharing between teachers, but basically encouraging trips. We want to get these reciprocal visits to each other's schools to learn about each other's culture, to give the children those amazing soft skills of international travel. You can't beat that experience. So that is our flagship, and that is our ultimate aim, to get as many students moving around the world and mixing with each other as possible. But for those of you who aren't quite ready for the travel, because it is still in its infancy after COVID, we have got our virtual school partnership program. So using our platform, we can connect you online and do online projects. Get the students engaging through Zoom like we are now, doing projects, learning about each other that way, which is another fantastic program. We will actually match you and help you support that relationship. And again, there are one or two drop-down days, interactive workshops you can get involved in as tasters to sort of motivate your students to learn about another culture, learn about that language if it's language learning. So we're doing an student interaction workshops for an international week in September, which is like a morning, it's 2.5 hours of a morning, where we'll have live interactive sessions between a couple of classes. So at the moment, we're looking at a morning for Spain, a morning for China, a morning for France, and a morning for the UK. And you register your class to join that, and we will join you in a breakout room to actually have a live session of question and answers, teaching in each other's songs, learning about each other's culture on a live guided session online. And we also have our online immersion programs. We set these up as sort of virtual trips when we couldn't organize a nice trips around the world. So this was a virtual trip initially with China. Now we've included Spain, and they're sort of full drop-down days. You can go up to 3 days where they can have a live host in that country. There are guided tours, information about history and the culture, activities where you can do cultural activities, and again, tours of schools and an interactive session with peers. So there are loads of programs to get involved in. Check them out or ask us for more details if you want to know more about them. So these are all lined up for it's the end of the year for most people to start in the new academic year, but get signed up now because there are limited places on some of them. And again, like I said, there's loads of activities and events happening to get involved in. I know the end of term for a lot of people as summer is approaching, but we've still got one more exciting student council meeting on the 7th, which is the secondary student council meeting, and they're going to be nominating their new president. So if you're part of the student council, or if you're not yet and would like to come along and find out more about it, find out about the student council. This is where we give the students their voice. They decide what they're doing. This is where they're led, and it's in a ring-fenced area on the platform. We have our next conference would be on the 14th of July, before everyone disappears on holiday. And that's going to be focused on transitions, thinking about the end of year and starting again next year, and how we can encourage them to come back, thinking about student wellness as well, but in transition times. So that should be another exciting conference. And we also have on the 12th, Guide Education has a dedicated webinar, which I'm sure he'll be telling you about. He's going to introduce himself a bit later on. So, like I say, I like to make this an interactive session, an interactive conference. So please introduce yourselves and say hi in the chat. If you have any questions for any of the speakers or for anything, please add it in the chat, and my colleagues and I'll keep an eye on that, and that hopefully get your questions answered. And we also want you to interact. So we want your opinion, we want your feedback. So this poll is basically about the global dimensions. What's about the global dimensions in your school? So please, I like to, people have already participated. Please join in the poll, give us your opinion, share with us what is happening in your school. So are there global dimensions, actively in your curriculum? Is it not really a priority, or is global dimensions not actually addressed within your curriculum as per se, as specifically, if it doesn't mean? So it's great to see. Thank you for participating, everybody. Oh, actually, it's quite neck and neck with all the subjects there. I think actually we have two questions. That was the first question. I think, are they both in the same poll? The second question was, what sort of global dimensions would you like embedded in them? So I think there's also a second part of the poll where we'd like to hear from you about the sort of things that you would like to see as global dimensions. So please, I'll give you a few more minutes to get a chance to vote and share, and then my colleagues will share the results. But thank you very much for participating. It's great results here. Does look like it is addressed in most schools, but it's not a priority, which is a shame. We're going to change that as we're going to change the world. Fantastic. And I think, yeah. Okay, I think most people have probably stopped voted. Henrietta, would we like to share the actual results? Fantastic. I hope you can all see the results. So we have 31% say they are a priority, 50% said they're there, but they're not a priority, but only 19% say they're not addressed at all, which is fantastic. So thank you very much for sharing your opinions. And again, all this is going to be shared. It is being recorded at the conference, and all the results and all the chats and all the links will be shared with you on the platform and on the Facebook page. So please take part. And once again, I'm going to give you 2 minutes to turn on your camera, no hiding behind it. So if you're there, turn your I'm going to stop sharing. We can all practice our smiles, get our hair done in the right way. Come on, 2 minutes. I can still see people hiding. Turn your cameras on. You can turn it off again afterwards. We just want a few evidence that there are actual real people behind those screens. Come on, I can still see people hiding. We've got 2 minutes before we make a smile and take some screenshots. How are we doing, Henrietta? We got enough people there to smile? I'll name and shame some if they don't turn on. Hannah, I believe you should be there. Turn your camera on. We're all doing it. Okay, let's smile. Great to see everybody.
Cheers.
Thank you. Wonderful. Okay, shall we carry on then? Thank you very much, guys. You can hide if you must, but it's nice to see who we're talking to. So, like I say, we have got some amazing speakers, so I'm not going to carry on waffling for much longer. I'm going to introduce Hadra. So would you like to share the screen, Hadra, and introduce yourself? Are you there?
Yes, hi, good evening, everybody. I can start, Tony?
Please do. Are you okay to share the screen?
Okay. Great. Yes, I will try that. Yes, I can. Right. Good evening, everybody. This is Hazra Sheikh, and I'm currently situated in Dubai. I am the head of primary and head of primary at the Indian Academy Dubai. It's following the Indian curriculum. However, we also look at the international standards in order to meet the national agenda parameters of the country. I've been into the sector of education for almost over a decade now, and have been a teacher and moved up to being the head of department now, also looking at the curriculum, assessment, teaching and learning of the whole school. So the whatever you hear from me today is going to be tried and tested. It has worked before, and it will be working with you all guys as well. Whichever part you are, I am sure it's going to work out with you. So let us see what we can share with each other. So I start with developing global dimensions in the school ethos is what the conference is all about. This is what we're going to discuss today. And thank you, Tony, and thank you, Hannah, for actually giving me an opportunity to bring this up. It's really a great topic to be discussed and to be followed across all the schools, whichever country you belong to. So just a thought before, everyone would be thinking, or probably those 19% who think that it is still not a priority, particularly for you, and the 50% who have still tried and tested it. Why do you need to develop global dimensions in your school? Why do our students need to know about different culture? This is something that's probably running in your head right now. I'm situated in UK, or I'm situated in Romania, and I'm situated in India, and why do my students need to know about this? That's the basic question that's going around. So in order to answer these questions, I would like to just start with some factual information before we move ahead. These are some facts out of research. The current global estimate is that there were around 281 million international migrants in the world in 2020. I'm sure by the time now we've reached 2022, it's more. This is the latest data that we have, which equates to 3.6% of the global population. So overall, the estimated number of international migrants has increased over the past 5 decades. Then the cultural diversity that accompanies migration enables new perspectives and experiences to be exchanged through intercultural encounters. It allows for creative and hybrid culture practices to emerge, and it creates a general societal openness to difference and to change. We've probably hearing, different kind of things across the world where, people probably are not tolerant and, are not ready to accept different cultures. So I think this is one of the greatest reason where we've kind of not fostered it well in our education system. Studying abroad helps you to learn new languages, appreciate other cultures, overcome challenges of living in another country, and gain a greater understanding of the world. Now, these are all things that modern businesses are looking for when they are hiring, and such traits will only become more important in the future. So it's, everybody's got a PhD, everybody's got an MA, and everybody's got a bachelor's. So what is going to make you stand out in the crowd, and what is going to make your students stand out in the crowd to ensure that they get the available job and they are picked up by the different businesses. On an average, 44% of students migrate to different countries for studies. Majority of them settling there and adopting their culture, while some return to their home country. Again, the percentage is very less who return back to the home country. We know the countries who are excelling in that: UK, US, Canada currently are excelling in offering international students. So that's where the factual information comes from, and the need to understand why do we go ahead with global dimensions. Just from an eye of an educator, these are the 8 key factors that probably are needed, and you need to look at these 8 key factors, or put up the lens of these 8 key factors when you're looking at any other subject teaching in your school. I start with global citizenship, conflict resolution, diversity, human rights, interdependence, social justice, sustainable development, and values and perceptions. Just to give you an insight of it, exactly, this PPT has the other details, but I'm just going to give you a brief detail about it. That is, just give me a minute. Okay. I start with global citizenship, like gaining the knowledge, skills, and understanding of concepts and institutions necessary to become informed, active, responsible citizens. So at the end, we all want our students to be global citizens. We want them to be informed and responsible citizens, and this is what it caters to. Conflict resolution is as simple as understanding the nature of the conflict and the impact of it. And there is a need for resolution. Whenever there is a conflict, there is a need for resolution, whether be it countries or people. We need resolution and solution to it. We move to social justice. Social justice, again, the importance of social justice, an element in both sustainable development and for the welfare of the people. Next would be values and perceptions, like developing a critical evaluation of representation of global issues and appreciating them, appreciating people's attitudes and values. Sustainable development, needless to say more about it, we all have been there, SDGs kind of been embedded across the schools, across the globe, in each and every aspect of education sector. So sustainable development stands out over there. Interdependence is how understanding how people, places, and economies are all interdependent on each other. We've actually tasted it right now when it came, during the pandemic period, is where we realized how we all are interdependent on each other. No matter which country, no matter which people, who are you or where do you belong to, but it just affected everybody. And I think the world just stood against it, and we fought it, and we are back to normal. Moving on to the next one would be the human rights. Again, it's something related to, knowing your basic human rights, including the UN Convention. Rights as simple as your right to education for children, everything that relates to a human is a part of it, is a part of the human right. Diversity is understanding and respecting differences and relating to these to our common humanity. Basically, you just appreciate the diversity that is there, around and surrounding you, kind of. I would just like to give you a few details over here when it comes to teaching it in different phases. All right, there would be some principals over here, some heads of the other departments, some teachers over here who probably would want to, how do we get it done in the foundation stage? How do we get it done in the middle and primary stages? And at the end, at a whole school level. So just to give you the details of foundation stage, basically, these are the elements that we cater to in the foundation stage: personal, social, and emotional development, communication, language and literacy, mathematical, numeracy development, knowledge and understanding of the world, physical and creative development. And how do we embed these things in the school ethos in the foundation stage? It can be as simple as listening and talking about stories from different culture and topics from around the world, speaking and listening to other languages in school. Of course, you will have your students from different languages, from different backgrounds. You will have stories when you're using it for your children in different languages. Discussing and learning about languages from around the world, identifying similarities and differences about different culture around the world and comparing them, it to their own, the places they visit during their family time and talk about it in the class. So these are very little things which you can do at the foundation stage, considering that the students are small and we try to embed it right at that age itself. Moving on to the primary grades, that's grade KS1 and KS2, your grades 1 to grades 12. Basically, these are the subjects all over the world which we generally follow. If there is one or two missing, probably that's because of the cultural difference or the country difference that we are in. Just a few examples for English, maybe, when you're making them read fiction and non-fiction about different places, people and culture. Activities, this is tried again and tested. Activities such as World Tourism Day, International Day celebrated to give them exposure to the people, food, culture, games, language, places, heritage of different countries. You generally discuss autobiographies, newspapers, magazines, e-magazine, real life connection, where they explore and research about world issues. In science, you can, they're part towards sustainable development. We've tried Plant a Plant Day, Say No to Plastic Day, Saving the Environment. We have Environment Club, eco leaders appointed in the school who actually go ahead and monitor the energy usage and, keep a tab on the energy usage of the different families. We ask them for their electricity bill. We compare and contrast and see how much are they saving on a regular basis. An activity which is very, very nicely done, that is my passport activity. Students across to create a passport for themselves during their summer break and research about the countries they would like to visit and share the details in their passport. So they create their own passport, they research, and they make it, they kind of just add whatever they want to pertaining to that particular country. Music can be connected to the cultural influence of that particular country. Art and design, this can be used to identify the similarities and differences in different forms of art and design in different culture, and be empathetic towards it by extending the knowledge of a range of cultures. Physical education, again, learning about different games played in different countries and culture. For instance, a very brilliant example would be, as Indians, cricket is the most played game and sought after game back in India. However, when we move to United Arab Emirates in UAE, it is football that is the most sought after game. So how do children and how do teachers and how do individuals, actually including adults and children, kind of change their attitude towards it and start learning about it? And particularly this country, I'm really grateful. It gives us an excellent platform to know and appreciate the different cultures, as we have people from different nationalities who call this beautiful land as their home. It becomes easy for the schools, particularly here, to develop the global dimensions. As I told you, more than 200 nationalities are here, and we cater to all of them, be it whichever curriculum. We will, at any given point of time, we will have more than 25 nationalities in a school at a particular time. Remember, the key is to plan your lessons as teachers with the focus of integrating different cultures, because you've just got to know what is the outcome of it. Your students would be, at the end of the day, moving out for further education, for higher studies, for job related issues, or probably just settling into another country. You have to give them this platform in the school so that they are able to survive and adapt and accommodate. Just the whole school level, at a whole school level, what you would probably consider doing it, if you're a principal or if you're heading a department, particularly building positive relationships, values, attitudes, and skills. We keep on focusing on the 21st century skills. Probably the recent report has added a lot more, the top 10 skills, according to the World Economic Forum, has been released, and it talks much more than the 21st century skills. It talks much more than the 4 C's. It talks about negotiation. It talks about decision making. These skills, which probably we did not even think, are important for students. But negotiation, who would think that it is really important for a child to learn at this age? But that is being considered as one of the top 10 skills which the schools need to focus on. Then we have something as team teaching, which will ensure and help one another to develop and learn. Collaboration, I think Tony has given us a fabulous slide, and she shared it before, where collaborative activities are happening, and GSA is a part of it. They are kind of leading it. So I think that is one of the biggest platform, Tony. I would like to get more details about it, of course, and others also. Yes, collaboration will make it much more, convenient for all of us to learn more about it. Student leader, again, she shared about it, the student leadership program that she has and how they are doing it and what are the conferences going on. At your school level also, I think the focus should be student leader, developing the leaders and giving them or making them in charge of it. Then we have taking action against whatever said and done. Until and unless it is not done, it is not going to work out. So please ensure that you take action and positive action and reinforcement towards it. On a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis, I'm not sure how does it work in different countries, but assemblies at class level, at grade level, at whole school level are important in integrating those values. Displays around the school, your learning environment talks a lot about it. What are you displaying? How is it being displayed? What are your students seeing on a daily basis on your walls? That is something they're going to pick up, 45 minutes of a lesson, 50 minutes of a lesson. Yes, they will understand the subject, the content, the skills. However, what they see day in and day out on your walls, on your learning environment is going to be carried home unintentionally. So please ensure that that is the space that you use to build such ethos. Professional development, again, this is for your teachers. until and unless your teachers are not convinced, they are not going to buy what you want them to teach your children or display this right skill and attitude, it's not going to work out. So professional development for your teachers is a mandate when it comes to kind of making them aware of the situation that the world is in and what their role in it is to play. So I think that is one of the most important thing and aspect from my end. So that's it from my end, Tony. I would just like to share the survey as well, the feedback link. I'll just posting it in the chat. Whenever they are done, I would like you to kindly just update that.
Thank you, Hajra.
Right.
That's amazing.
Thank you so much, Tony. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Some amazing statistics. And again, the reasons why we should be doing global education, the benefits are fantastic, and some wonderful practical advice. I can't see, does anybody have any questions for Hajra right now? We can wait till the end, or if you have something, drop it into the chat. I think everyone was so stunned and listening so intently that there aren't any questions for you at the moment. But we'll get back to that. So basically, we'll move on to Harvey. Harvey, would you like to take the screen and introduce yourself? Thank you very much, Hajra.
Thank you very much. I'm just going to share my screen. Let me know when you can see my first slide here, Tony, please.
Yes, can see you. Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, first of all, thank you very much to the Global School Alliance for hosting this event and allowing us this platform to share with you exactly what it is that Guide Education does. Hopefully by the end of this, you'll have some tools that you can use and take into the practical sessions that you have. Before I get into Guide Education though, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Harvey Schofield. I was a previous head of engagement at an alternative provision free school here in the UK. I held that position for 8 years. For those of you that are not aware of what an alternative provision is, it's essentially for children that have been removed from mainstream school for various different reasons. And that was a role that I really enjoyed. I kind of fell into that space within education. But what happened is I was swept up into with a team of people, and in particular the head teacher Leon Hady, who is actually the founder of Guide Education. So this is long before Guide Education even existed, and we took that school from failing to ultimately being Ofsted outstanding. So I was very fortunate to be a part of the processes and the systems and all of the things that you need to put in place in order to achieve that Ofsted outstanding grading, which is the highest that you can achieve here in the UK from the UK government. So yeah, that was very fortunate to have that. I then went on to become a deputy head for 3 years of an outstanding school, and that was again with Leon Hady, who I'll mention again in a minute. But what happened was all of the knowledge and everything that I'd learned from those experiences, I wanted to try and widen the reach. I wanted to share as much information as I could, all of the knowledge that we had and the good things that we were doing in the school. How can we actually share that amongst others worldwide? And that's when I went and found Leon Hady again, and an opportunity arose for us actually to move to China. The reason we went there is we was the finalist in an Alibaba competition out in Hangzhou. There were several thousand applicants to this competition, and we actually were finalists of that. So yeah, we relocated, my wife, my 2 children, Leon's family. We went out there. It was meant to be for 2 years in 2019. And then obviously COVID happened, which was an extremely worrying time. And we actually had to come back to the UK. At the time, we didn't know what was going to happen. But what we have is an online teacher training portal. And through COVID, all eyes was on us, so to speak. Everybody wanted remote. Everybody wanted something that was online because the face-to-face stuff just was not happening anymore. So actually, COVID for Guide Education was almost like a little bit of a blessing in disguise, if you like. And since then, we've just had really good growth. And currently, I am the Customer Relations Director here at Guide. So I get to speak at events like this, and I get to meet with senior leaders and head teachers from all over the globe on a daily basis. So very fortunate in that respect. So who is Guide Education? Well, to date, we've taught and developed over 15,000 teachers worldwide online. We are the recent BET winners of the category of leadership and management solutions. We were nominated against some really high profile companies there, so we was extremely proud to come away with that. Our founder here, you may see on the right-hand side of my screen, Leon Hady. He is an ex-head teacher of an outstanding school. You may see him on the news here in the UK from time to time, talking about education. But we also work with the Maldivian government just recently, not just in a few schools, but actually nationally. Now, in the Maldives, as you may know, it's made up of 1,200 islands. Only 200 of those, or I think it's about 187, actually have people on them. But logistically, trying to upskill staff, train teachers to upskill their practice is very, very difficult for them to do. And they found that by using the guide platform, they're able to do this very quickly and efficiently. So they're actually over in the UK at the moment. We're hosting them, which is fantastic because they get to visit some of the UK schools. Some of them have never been to the UK before. So they're going to take that back with them, and hopefully those experiences will bear fruit when they get back to the Maldives. So during this presentation, hopefully I'll introduce you to some strategies and tools that will allow you to direct and influence your staff learning. We are firm believers here at Guide Education that your school's pedagogy is only as strong as the pedagogy of its weakest staff. We always say that whenever we speak to anybody. We like to catch all, and anybody at the school should be able to access the learning and the content that's available to them. Coming into money here and what's been invested in EdTech recently, you can see here in 2001, there's been a huge growth in the money that's being invested. And this is just in US dollars. So $609 million US has been invested in this. And this does not look like it's going to slow down. So there's lots of things with AR and VR, augmented reality and virtual reality that's coming out recently. And this stuff is it's not going away. We have to, as educators, work alongside this, understand it, and furthermore, make sure that we are keeping an eye on the developments of all of this technology, what's coming out from these investments. And for anyone that's saying to me, no, EdTech's not going to take off, we're going to go back to filofaxes and pencils and pieces of paper, I would just invite you to have a look at this next slide, which clearly shows here, it's taken from the Statista 2022, share of individuals using online learning and doing online courses just in Great Britain. And hopefully you can see here that the younger generation are really taking to this. And it's just second nature to those. So whereas it's quite new for the older generation, they're having to adapt and learn how to use the technology, the younger generation that are inevitably going to take over that space, this is just going to be second nature to them. So they're going to be using these technologies throughout the course of their careers, and that's only going to grow. Now, some of the challenges that face the teachers at the moment, I've highlighted here in red. 3/4, it's actually 74% of all teachers here in the UK think that their initial teacher training did not prepare them well to manage their own well-being. And 2/3 of those felt that it didn't prepare them well enough to manage their pupils or students' well-being either. Now, this is a huge problem and one that we need to rectify, and it's one that we need to tackle through the digital space and the online space that we've got at the moment. You can see stress levels have increased in 2021, long working hours persist across all job roles. So there are many, many challenges that we face as teachers today. And I just added this slide in this morning. I was looking at a news article here from our Education Secretary, Nadeem Sahawi. This was just Thursday, the 23rd of June. I've highlighted it in red here. What he's trying to do is dissuade teachers from going on strike here in the UK at the moment. And they're striking over pay and they're striking over workload. And the article goes on to read that 1 in 8 newly qualified teachers left within the first year of their teaching profession. 1 in 8 teachers left the profession. Teacher training, people applying to go to teacher training and do the courses, has dropped 24% compared with last year. And teachers and school leaders are often saying that the workload is the predominant concern for teachers and school leaders. So it's the workload. We've had people, only 24% of people are applying for these courses, and obviously 1 in 8 newly qualified staff are leaving. So there are clear issues here with the teaching profession in that way. But as educators, and it's our responsibility to help our profession It's our responsibility to support those who are on the ground by using these innovative solutions that we've got available to us today, and alleviate some of these pressures that we see in the news and on the statistical data that we're gathering. So at this point, allow me to introduce Guide Education Platform to you, and I'll show you a little bit about how that works. Please do join us on the dedicated webinar, though, on the 12th of July if you want to see more of this. But I'm just going to give you a small flavour of what it is that we do. So this is what the teacher would see. We have all of our courses available to us here, and every school gets what we call a portal. And this is essentially their portal. So every school that we work with has one of these, and all of your colleagues at the school will be able to access this portal here. So I've got all of these courses. You can see Preparing for Middle Leadership. Now, the school has the flexibility to change any of these courses, give me access to more relevant courses. If I'm a TA, I might not particularly want to learn about how to become a school-wide change maker at this point in my career. So you've got the flexibility to change what it is that you want to learn. Now, if I come into one of these courses, Preparing for Middle Leadership, I can see what progress I've got through here. And if I just drop down, we can see enacting change, and I get this video. Now, this is the content, what I'm supposed to learn on this platform. I'm going to press play. And some of you will notice these orange dots on the platform here. These are what we call in-video events. So if I press play,
we've started our new role.
When I get to this point in the video, you will see that an in-video event has popped up. What are the targets on your school's development plan for this academic year? And I'm invited to type my answer in here, so I can use text. I can also upload a document if I wish. I can take a photograph of any notes that I've made and upload those to the platform, a video. Or what we've found actually is more comfortable and being used a lot by the people that we have on the platform is this audio note feature here. So I don't know if any of you are familiar with a WhatsApp feature where you can just hold the microphone and speak into there and get that message across. We also have that on here, and it's proving really, really popular. But before I make my answer, I can actually have a look at what my colleagues think to this as well. So if I pop over to Mia here, I can see how she's answered this question. I can see how Wang's answered this question, and so on and so forth. Now, the reason that we've added this feature in here is to replicate the face-to-face training that you would receive. So we've probably all been there as teachers, I know I certainly have, where we've got to the end of a long day, the children have left the school, and we've got a backlog of work, we've got some emails, some phone calls to do, but we now have to go into training for an hour and a half, and I am not at the peak focus for learning anything right now. I'm thinking about this in the back of my head, this in the back of my head, and now I've got to try and retain the information that I'm learning from the presenter. So we go to this training, 9 times out of 10, after 10 or 15 minutes, the trainer will say, right, guys, I want you to break off into your groups of 3 and 4. We're going to come back in a minute or two and discuss what we've learned in the last 15 minutes. It's at that point there where we would then share our experiences, and some people are a little bit quiet in the room. I've been guilty of that myself, but we've replicated that in this digital space here. Now, not only have we replicated that, but you can actually put your answers in at a time that suits you. When you are ready, when you can swarm around a particular piece of content with your colleagues at your school at a time when you are at your peak focus. So maybe it's in the evening when you've settled down from the end of the day, you can come on to here and answer in that way. Now, moving over to the schedule section, I'll just show you this section here. On any of our courses, this has proven really, really popular. Let's say I want to do Understanding the Senko role. I can come in and I can create a schedule. So it's easily accessible to me at a time when it suits me. I can come in and I can say, right, I want my focus for the next 2 months, for example. I can start this on Monday, June the 27th, and I'm going to focus on this piece of learning for the next 2 months. So I'm going to put 2 months in there. And I know that I'm free on Tuesdays and on Thursdays to complete this training. I know I have time to actually look at this content here. So I would create that schedule. Now, when I come up here to my schedule section, you will see that what's happened is it's broken down that entire course to just on those days what I've selected, the Tuesdays and the Thursdays. I know I need to watch 3 videos here. I know I need to watch 3 videos here. Now, what we found, our data suggests that people are 4 times more likely to complete a course if it's scheduled out in this way, as opposed to just saying, hey, can you have a go at doing the Senko course? And then, you know, 8 times out of 10 people will just leave it till the last minute and try and rush through adding to their workload. So this has been a really popular addition to what we do. I'm just going to quickly log in as a mentor at this point, just to show you the other side of the platform. There we go. Now you'll see this homepage here is a little bit different. I was logged in before as Prisha Khatri here, and I can have a look at exactly how she is progressing through any of the courses. I get a nice overview here of exactly what she's completing, a nice percentage wheel, when she last logged in, but I can also distribute access to more courses down the line. So if she's coming to the end of these courses and she needs a particular piece of training on dealing with difficult people, she wants to actually complete the award in education and training level 3, she can do that as well. And we can just distribute access over time in that way. I can also have a look at any of the schedules that they've set. So you can see here the one that we just made, and I can have a look at how she's getting on there. But importantly as well, I can have a look at the assessments. So all of the questions that pop up on the video and then I've made an answer to, I would have access to just here. So if I come into Unit 1, for example, and go to the workbook, you can see that I can see all of the answers that this particular learner would have put. And I, again, can respond to that learner in any way that I wish, audio, note, or video. So we've really tried to create a fluid mentor-learner interaction feedback loop, if you like. And it's proven obviously really, really popular. And again, on the 12th of July, I'm happy to show you more about that. But if I just come back here to the, if I just come back here to the student side very quickly, I'm just going to log in back in as Prisha and log in. You may have noticed when I scroll down here, I've actually created my own course, the GSA event. And if I click on here, I've just put one video in here. It takes no longer than 3 minutes to do. We've made it really, really easy for schools to just create their own content, contextualized to their school, because many schools will have banks and folders and Filofaxes, online spaces of Google Slides and presentations that they can actually share with their staff very easily on the platform. So if I come in here, I can have a look at this. There's actually no events on this particular video here, but each and every school would get what we call an admin section. Again, I'll elaborate on this at a later date, but we can add your own questions, your own events, and your own resources to this video. So if I come in here and I just say, name 3 things, X, Y, and Z, I can choose between a multiple choice or a free type question. I want that to pop up at 1 minute, and then I'm going to save that. But before I do, you'll notice it's immediately or in the future. Now, the future event question is where we measure impact. We can measure impact of the training. So the first question here is immediate. That then goes in. Now I'm going to add another question, and I'm going to say, how has this improved your practice over the last 2 weeks? Now, obviously, that's not a question that I can answer straight away because 2 weeks hasn't elapsed. I've only just seen this question. So we're going to set this in the future. We're going to delay it by 2 weeks, and it's contingent on the first question, which essentially just means once the learner has answered that first question, the timeline will begin for 2 weeks. They are then notified and they can come back and revisit that learning. Because a lot of the times with the learning that I've certainly been present to, you would watch the presenter go away, and in 2 weeks, I can't retain any of that information. I only remember snippets of what I was told within that presentation. So when I save that there and I come back to the learner page, and I'm just going to refresh the page here. And you can see we've added those 2 interaction points. Here's our question. Name 3 things. We would just put an answer in here. I'm invited to answer, save it. And when I get to this second one, you can see that this is now locked for the 2 weeks that we said. And again, I'd be notified to come back. So it's really retaining the information and revisiting the content that you've got so that it embeds that learning further. Hopefully that's been of use to you there. I'm going to come back to the presentation slides. So we develop teachers in 3 main ways. We focus on CPD for those in year 1 to year 4. So even if you're a teaching assistant, very new to the teaching career, all the way up to senior leadership, we have content that gets all. We also offer qualifications from AET level 3 all the way to qualified teacher status. These are internationally recognized and you can do them on the platform. But again, we also have the ability for schools to develop their own contextualized training. And on the 12th of July, I'll be showing you how you can actually sell that content as well to develop a further income stream for your school. So any of the content that you create, you do have the ability to sell that as well. It's worth mentioning as well that this platform is available on all devices, mobile, iPad, tablet, TV, smart TV, if you're lucky enough to have one. It's available on all of those. But I want to leave you with thinking about the word accessibility. Okay, we've got all of the content here. We can share that, we can get mentor, learner feedback loops, but we want this to be accessible to all. So how have we done that? Well, with the funding that we've received, we've developed a new piece of technology that we've not seen anywhere else. It was one of the challenges that we had out in China. We are able to change any of our videos instantly into any different language. So now if you're learning content on the Guide platform from wherever you are in the world, you can actually access that content in your host language. And I'm going to give you a short demonstration to that here. So here I have a video, and you can see I can just select the language. I'm going to press play.
Hello and welcome to this video in which we will explore how to engage with this
And now
course.
I can turn it to Chinese.
And
Instantly changes to Chinese, exactly where it was picked up. Let's say we want to have Ukrainian. We want to have Bangladeshi. So hopefully you can see there now with that piece of technology, it's accessible to all. And I'll leave you with this as well. We have an exclusive discount for GSA members. I'm sure that Hannah and the team and Tony will share that more with you, but I would recommend getting in touch with Guide Education, one of our team here, to have a consultation with you about your digital strategy, because although these are our packages, we do also offer bespoke packages to cater for the school's individual needs. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for that sharing. Like I say, he has got a dedicated webinar in July. I think Hannah has shared the link to how to find out about how you can get discounts as well, but it does look amazing, and I love that changing language thing. I want that. I speak to so many amazing people, and English isn't always the best language to try and communicate in. So thank you so much for that. It looks unfortunately a bit like salary. There's the storm in South Africa has held up Gary. Whether she's going to join us or not, I'm not sure. So I'm afraid, Sarah, can I bump you up and offer you to speak next? Would that be all right?
Yes, you certainly can. I'll
you.
share my screen. And just confirm that you can see me.
I can see you, but not your presentation just yet.
Ah, okay. I'll just come back into that again then. So, are we there now?
No, sorry. Are you sharing?
Oh.
Press share.
Okay, that's all right. I should
do my trick. Put your glasses on. Does help.
Yeah, that's often a good idea, isn't it? Okay, so
that's better. Thank you.
Oh, we're there.
So I can't see your presentation though.
Can you see it now?
I can see you. No, it flashed through. Then we did see something.
Ah, okay. Let's do the same thing again then. So now I think I'm screen sharing. It's showing on mine. Is that showing on yours?
That's better. Yes, thank you. We can see it now.
Fantastic. So I think I'll keep the glasses on. It obviously works better with those. I hope that entertained you all just a little. So as you can see, I'm a French teacher with 30 years experience of secondary school teaching and currently Director of International Programmes at Highworth Grammar School in Kent. 2 years ago, I was given a blank slate to develop the international work of the school. And 2 years, almost to the day, I'm going to take you on that rather exciting quest to prepare our students to compete and contribute in what I think we all recognise as an increasingly globalised world. So this is Highworth Grammar School. As you can see, I hope, Tony, can I just confirm you have an image of the school? Have I lost you?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes, we can see that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, typical 1930s grammar school. The building hasn't changed very much at all. There are extensions, but the students within it, the profile of those students has changed dramatically, and really illustrates that change in global dimensions and the importance of developing global dimensions in the school ethos. Over the last 12 years, our number of students speaking English as an additional language has changed from 7% to 25%. We have 42 languages spoken in our school, and in just one class of my year 7 students, there are 14 different languages. So this is the story of moving from that blank slate in 2020 to where we are, Highworth International Programmes 2 years on. And on the slide here, you can see some of the awards and icons that give you, I hope, a little picture of how dramatic that change has been. So starting out with a blank slate, I looked at the school development plan and Ofsted requirements and thought about how I could best contribute to the school and make a difference, and came up with a mission to prepare our students to compete and contribute as responsible citizens of an increasingly interconnected world. And I took the school motto, reach for the stars, and aimed to develop that into the global dimension. This is the school motto, and you can see really, I think, encapsulated in there, the idea of citizenship, what we need to produce for our profile of students who are going out to work all around the world and in very interconnected global businesses and contexts, is global citizens. And of course, we want them to be eager to continue their education. We want to whet their appetite and broaden their horizons, to encourage them to fulfill their potential, and of course, to be happy. And that has been referenced by the previous speakers, and I think very, very important. I thought I would read you our vision statement, and while I'm reading it, just invite you to think about the key principles and how they relate to your own context. I would be really interested in your feedback. So this is the vision statement that I've put on the new web page, and I held a school competition to devise the logo that you can see in the top left-hand corner there, international programmes. So Highworth International Programmes build students' knowledge and understanding of people and places, the issues which unite us, and the attitudes and behaviours required to become active global citizens. By celebrating our global connections and cultural diversity, we develop cultural capital and build equality, empathy, tolerance, and understanding. Our curriculum is enriched by growing international links and connecting classrooms through global learning partnerships with the Walker Secondary School in Dang, Nepal, and the Azra Academy in Kaduna, Nigeria. At the end of the presentation, I would be very interested in your feedback and how that relates to your context. I'm always eager to build on what I've already done and to continue to learn. So from that start of devising a vision statement based on the school development plan and Ofsted, our inspection requirements, I developed 7 strands, which you can see here on the screen. And I'm going to take you briefly through each one. Please do ask questions if you'd like to at the end. And this is a brief insight into where we are now as a school. So my first idea was to bring students from around the world into the school, so that particularly those of our students who haven't perhaps travelled very much outside their hometown would have that contact with international students. I've worked with the local language schools as we've gone through Brexit and devised a post-Brexit model, which seems to work really well. Now you'll see there's some figures. Of course, everything that we do has a cost, And to help to develop international programs, I looked at a way of bringing in income. And our international students are invited to make a contribution to the school. And this year, starting in January, because of course we were coming back from COVID and lockdowns, and January was the first possible time, that this has brought in £8,162 and important 50 pence. And that money is helping to fund the international programme's work and to broaden our students' horizons through their contact with the international students. My second venture was to enable our students to learn a skill that would help them to travel around the world and fund their own travel. This is where the Highworth TEFL team came in. So in a partnership with UK TEFL, I've actually trained 87 teachers in the last 2 years. They're all year 12, so 16, 17-year-old students who've completed a course which gives them a qualification to teach English as a second language and as a foreign language. And they've then had experience within the school helping younger students, particularly younger students who are speaking English as an additional language, so that they can leave our school qualified to go out and work their way around the world, which some of them leaving this year, the first trained cohort, are setting out to do, which is really quite exciting. I've mentioned EAL students. We have a growing number of students who speak English as an additional language. And of course, during COVID lockdowns, they were raising the issue that they had less opportunity to speak English. And for some of them, libraries were shut, and that was taking away their access to books during school closures, books in English, of course. To address this, I got the group together and asked them to share their needs, and as a result, created the Languages Pilot Project, which is now running as the Languages Project. This comprised tutoring with our TEFL team and a book club. And during lockdown, by completing safeguarding training online and offering this to the TEFL team, we were able to keep going throughout lockdown with a weekly book club on Wednesdays where we all came together, and the opportunity to dip into a Google Classroom for tutoring with the year 12 students. Now, this was quite exciting with a huge impact on results. 25% of the pilot group achieved 3 or more top grades, and excitingly, 7 of the group, there were 16 in the group altogether, 7 of them got into the top 10 students in the year. Projected grades show exceptional GCSE performance. As a result of this work and the desire of the year 7 students in the project to carry on, I developed a partnership with the local bookshop, and we've managed to grow the funding that we have attracted by 25% through a discount from Waterstones. And this group has been helping me to develop a range of culturally diverse books for the library. Now, word of this spread, and the £500, which grew to £550, then attracted a further £2,000 grant, which we've grown to £2,500, and are busy spending at the moment to bring in exciting culturally diverse books into our library. And that in turn has led to a partnership with the English department to encourage reading right across the school with these exciting new books. And of course, this is developing the global dimension right across the school through reading. My fourth strand was to celebrate the cultures that we have represented within the school. And I've devised the programme of Culture Days, which are led by students from within the culture. Each day is now developing into a week in which the students lead an insight into their culture. Now, the exciting thing about this is it not only broadens our students' horizons and shares cultures with other students, but it's delivered by the whole staff as part of our mentor programme, which runs each day of the week, each school week of the year. Now, this has meant that staff are also gaining a deeper understanding of each of the cultures represented in the school, and has led to some interesting developments. For example, in modern foreign languages, in French, the Nepali students' introduction to Nepali led us to review our work on pronunciation. Nepali, very, very much with limited movement of the lips, and much movement of the tongue to make the sounds, whereas in French, of course, extensive development of the lips. And we had great fun using mirrors, looking at the difference in pronunciation. And in actual fact, that has translated into improved results for our year 10s at GCSE, where there are 5 marks for pronunciation and intonation. And it's this development of the global dimension has led to an awareness of differences in pronunciation between languages that has translated into results. And as you can see here, this celebration is termly, it's led by students, and we've formed equality groups within the school who have helped to drive the culture days. On the next few slides, I've just incorporated a few pictures to show some of the activities that we've really enjoyed as a school. The henna patterns are very, very exciting for our students. We held a competition for the best henna design, and these are some of the winners. We had a lantern competition as part of our Chinese Culture Day and decorated the school. And very excitingly, as part of our Japanese Culture Day, which incorporated a link with an ex-student, a former community captain of mine who's now teaching in Japan. And this led to the gift of a sakura cherry tree from the people of Japan as part of the Japanese UK season of culture. And here you can see us planting the tree in the middle of the Kent Ambassador, and me to the left, surrounded by some of the key students, including our Japanese speakers. The tree is now about twice the height, and we have seen our first blossom this year. This caused quite an excitement, and from there was a logical step to celebrate our global connections. I held a survey across the school using Google Forms to share our our global links, and these are being celebrated with 2 maps. One, a snapshot of where we are now with our global connections, and the second, which you can see in front of you. Each year, the new Year 7s are being invited to pin their global connections onto the map. We are going to use a different coloured pin each year, so we'll build a developing picture. And this is something that we're very excited about. From the global days, we developed international school days. Again, just a little insight here into some of the days that we've celebrated this year. And this has become a regular feature of the school calendar. Again, delivered in our mental sessions like the culture days, so they reach everyone. Studying abroad, I've developed in the school, and post-COVID, this has been quite exciting. We've had our first Harvard success with a Harvard summer school. I'm collaborating with the careers department and broadening students' horizons through focus days, which are off timetable days where each year group at a time is given an insight into specific areas. And I've been developing the idea of studying abroad. Support is offered alternate Monday lunchtimes where students can come to a drop-in to find out more. And I'm pleased to say that that desire to study abroad, whether the whole degree, a summer school, or as part of a degree, is growing. To galvanise the whole school, and this is a high achieving school, I felt that it would be helpful to have an end result, and the whole school has worked together to achieve the International School Award. This has really underpinned the work that we've been doing, and I'm delighted to say that we have achieved the award. And not only for our school, but for our cluster schools, and our alumni have linked with us to make this possible. One of our projects with our partner schools was to plant gardens as part of the United Nations Sustainability Goal, Life on Land. Here you can see the very beginning of our newly planted Nepali garden. Our partner school in Nepal has an English garden, and our primary schools have also planted in celebration of our partnership. Here is my colleague, Purna, with some of his staff and students. And this is their school, which our students found very exciting, was built to withstand an earthquake. As part of our first project, we exchanged 5 photos. Here you can see the 5 photos we sent from Ashford. And here the 5 we received from Nepal. We completed the same project with our new partner school, the Azra Academy in Kaduna, Nigeria, and here are some of the photos they shared with us. And here you can see the location of the school. And we were very excited about their library because, of course, we've been striving to build ours. The Global Teacher Award was a logical development from there. Again, the whole school working together, striving to underpin the curriculum now with our global links. And we have achieved the Global School Award. I found it particularly helpful to complete the Global Teacher Award and the Advanced Global Teacher Award to underpin my leadership of international programs. And I'm delighted to be here today as a Global School Ambassador Pro. This has really helped to give the heads confidence in the ideas that I take forward and my understanding of the reasoning, the ethos behind what we're striving to achieve. So I hope that has given you a little overview into how Highworth has gone from the blank slate of international programs in 2020 to 2022 international programs with its own webpage, the Global School Award, Global School Alliance, the Global Teachers Award, connecting classrooms, partnerships, leading to the International School Award, designated safeguarding lead training so that we can run online in lockdowns and the programs can continue, a mapping of our global links, our global connections, and our partnership with UK TEFL. I'd like to end my presentation with an invitation. You may be aware today is International Day of Women in Engineering. You may not be aware that the day is held on the birthday of Verena Holmes, who you can see in the pictures here. And Verena Holmes was born at Highworth Grammar School. Now, Verena was a talented engineer and inventor, many inventions and firsts to her name, not least setting up the Women's Engineering Society. In celebration of this link with Highworth, you can see here that she was born in what was then called Highworth House. Now Highworth gives its name to the school, and the actual room where she was born is in our music department, now Gower House. And I'd like to invite you to take part in the exhibition that I've launched with our local museum. We've been inviting our students to share some answers to the questions you can see on the screen here, and our alumni to answer questions about their role in engineering. Now, it would be absolutely fantastic if we could take this exhibition out around the world. At the moment, we have an exhibition of some of our current students and alumni, their answers to these questions, and some information about Verena Holmes. And I'd really like to invite you to ask students in your school and alumni of your schools to answer the same questions with a view to producing a virtual Global School Alliance exhibition. That brings me to the end of my presentation. I really would welcome your feedback and any questions. So I shall stop sharing now and come back in.
Thank you, Sarah. That was a
To
very,
join me.
very interesting.
Thank
Thank you. That was brilliant. Like I say, what I really love is the fact that you got the school vision in there. Start with the school vision, getting everybody on board, knowing what your targets were was fantastic. And I really love the fact that you're sort of doing internal training and the students are doing it. You are just enabling them to do it themselves. So you're training them, they're then teaching peers. So they're so much more motivated and engaged with it. So I think there's some fantastic ideas you've shared there. Just having a quick look, does anybody have any questions? You can either raise your hand or unmute. I can't see any in the chat at the moment, but did anybody want to ask Sarah anything, basically? While you've got the chance, while she's here.
Some lovely comments, and I think I would be really interested to know if you would be interested in joining the virtual exhibition to see if we can find out on this day of International Women in Engineering, to see if we can spread the exhibition around the world and find out about women working in engineering worldwide, globally.
I tell you what, we'll share those questions and ask people to submit it. We'll get them. We'll try and get as many people to contribute so that we can make it a global contribution. That'd be amazing. So
Wonderful.
we'll share it through the Global School Alliance. I can actually see that Abhilasha has a hand up. Abhilasha, would you like to unmute and say something?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks a lot. This is like, Sarah, first and foremost, congratulations and kudos to you for your leadership and such brilliant work with your students. I mean, it's all about building student agency and also global citizenship. So it's lovely to see what you're doing in the school. And we would really love to collaborate if we can have a virtual partnership with your school so that our students and teachers can also learn from your school and what your school is, sharing best practices and what you're doing in the school.
That's very kind, and I would love that very much. Tony, is it possible to put us in touch?
I think we've got a few other people in the chat who actually want to do the same thing. So, but at the moment, we might be looking at making a group just for your school to share with everybody else. You seem to be the mentor that everybody would like to be part of. So yes, we will work on how we can connect.
Is everything.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Tony.
No, thank you, Abhilasha. Thank you, Abhilasha. And thank you, Sarah. I told you you'd be a hit. I told you you'd be. So, thank you so much for your sharing. Would anybody else like to ask a question or contribute? I think we've just got lots of thank yous in the chat.
It's lovely to see. It has been very exciting, and as you see, through the students. Yes,
that's what I love, the idea of the fact that you're training them to train each other. Which is amazing. And it does look, unfortunately, like the storm in South Africa has meant our last speaker has not managed to join us. So that's probably it for the actual live session today. But like I say, there's the platform we can continue this conversation on. There's the Facebook page. I think there are links. Like I say, we will keep in touch. And Sarah, we will be sharing your connections. And if we can share the questions and maybe get some more people involved in that International Women.
Wonderful.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Lovely. So I'll probably actually say that's it. Thank you everybody for contributing today, and like I say, this recording and all the presentation will be shared on the platform, and enjoy the rest of your day. So thank you very much for participating and joining us today.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
I have a question.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just have a very quick question. How do our other schools sign up for presentations?
So do you want to volunteer to present at the conference?
Yeah.
I'll have a word with Hannah. I think there is a link on the platform when you can volunteer. Okay. Otherwise, email us or speak to Hannah. Okay. And we're always looking for amazing people, inspirational teachers like Sarah and yourself, Abhilasha, to contribute, to share with all the rest of the members. So please, if anyone has a burning desire to join us, please do let us know, and we'll welcome you to join us and share.
Thank you, and also thank you to all the other presenters.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.
Lovely sharing today and lovely learning. Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much for organizing this.
Thank you, everybody, and we will see you again, hopefully at the next one.
Thank you, Tony. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.